Hey everyone, today we're talking about the latest updates from the Ukrainian battlefield, especially the much talked about Dragon drones. These drones specialize in thermite attacks. Imagine 2,000 daksha molten metal raining down on Russian positions, burning everything, trees, cover equipment, all gone. Russian infantry hiding in the woods. They got roasted, running for their lives. In early September, Ukrainian forces began deploying these Dragon drones in the Pokrovsk direction, blowing up Russian equipment and ammo depots. Dozens of Russian soldiers were sent straight to their graves. This move forced the Russians to retreat in panic, even having to rethink their attack strategies. It was a real beauty. Besides the Dragon drones, Ukraine has set up a system of suicide drones to intercept Russian ones. Two Ukrainian influencers casually posted a tweet, and boom, within days, they raised over $4 million. Enough to buy 4,000 suicide drones. Let's do the math. A 20% hit rate means they can take down 800 Russian drones. The Russians only fly about 300 drones a day, and their reserves are just around 2,500, 3,000. Ukraine doesn't need to wipe out every drone, they just need to chip away at them daily. Eventually, the Russian army will be fighting blind. Vadim, a commander of Ukrainian drones, revealed that the usage of FEB drones on the front lines in August surged by 25% compared to June, and the numbers will only continue to grow. The timing of the Ukrainian drone deployments is also quite specific: at night or early in the morning, with the only standard for launch sites being the more remote, the better. Even isolated highways have become drone runways. It appears that Ukraine's launch points are scattered everywhere, and Russia's critical facilities really can't escape this wave. As for whether high-tech equipment was used during the drone takeoffs, we don't see it in the photos, but who knows if there's some black technology hidden behind it. Besides, these drones clearly have Western influences. The design style looks like it came straight from a major USA military manufacturer with top-notch quality. Some might think Russian soldiers are fighting for national honor. Don't kid yourself. Most of them are there purely for the paycheck, which is way higher than their usual wages. Some of these guys wouldn't even hurt to fly back home, but on the battlefield they're robbing, raping, and killing civilians. Why? Because the Russian government has a lovely offer. If you desert or surrender, you're looking at 15 years in prison. And don't forget, Kadyrov's troops are behind them, ready to shoot anyone who tries to flee. Once this vicious cycle starts, even pacifists turn into killing machines. On the battlefield, it's either they kill me or I kill them. Russian commanders even tell their troops, rob all you want, take care of your own food. So the Russian army has basically turned into a gang of bandits, and no one cares because they're too far from Moscow to be controlled. In August, Ukraine got their hands on the F-16s, and the Russian Su-34s didn't dare drop any more Fabi bombs. They'd got shot down before they even reached their targets. So Russia turned to Iran's FAT 360 missiles, aimed at Ukraine's eastern forces, and possibly cities like Pokrovsk, Sumy, and Kharkiv. 200 missiles have already been shipped through the Caspian Sea to Russian ports. These missiles weigh 787 kilograms, fly at 4 times the speed of sound, and carry a 150-kilogram warhead. They're a smaller version of the Fate 110, but still pack a punch. But hey, there might be some funny business going on here. Who knows? Maybe Russia and Iran swapped them for something even bigger and badder, like the Fate 110. Meanwhile, Ukraine's allies aren't slacking off either. On September 6th, the West held its 24th support conference. U.S. Defense Secretary Austin rolled up his sleeves with European defense companies, planning to create new weapons to replace the Soviet-era S-300 air defense and R-27 air-to-air missiles. As for the S-300 replacement, there are two ideas: either build a new system from scratch or use Ukraine's own defense industry to develop something like the Neptune missile or the Kilshin project. And for air-to-air missiles, well, since March 2023, Ukraine has been trying to modify its MiG-29s to use the UC AIM-120 air-to-air missiles, but 60% of the MiG-29's parts need upgrading, and that's still in progress. So for now, they might use the Luch Design Bureau's Coral Project air defense system, which could work as an air-to-air missile. Ukraine is getting the hang of using drones, and the US is fully backing them. Word is the US is about to spend over $200 million on key components, so Ukraine can build its own drones and electronic warfare systems. The Brits also sent over some generous aid, offering 650 LM lightweight multi-role missiles, with the whole aid package valued at $162 million. The first batch of these missiles is expected to arrive by the end of this year. These LMMs are light, weighing only 13 kg with a 3 kg warhead. Their range is 8 km, and they fly at 1.5 times the speed of sound. While they might not seem like top-tier firepower, don't underestimate them. These missiles are drone killers, perfect for taking down UAVs on the front lines. But here's the catch: Britain isn't exactly rolling in cash right now. The LMMs are precious to them, and apparently it takes 3 years just to produce them. So giving Ukraine 650 of these is truly a rare act of generosity. And then there's Germany keeping up with its tradition of being slow. At the latest Ramstein meeting, Germany promised to provide 12 Peacekeeper 2000 self-propelled howitzers and 77 Leopard 1A5 tanks. The problem: the first 6 Peacekeeper 2000s won't arrive until the end of 2024, and the rest won't show up until 2025. By the time they make it to the front lines, the war might be over. As for those 77 Leopard 1A5 tanks, they're really just old stock Germany had promised last year, now dusted off to make an appearance. When exactly will they arrive? Germany isn't saying. This isn't the first time Germany has done this either. They've made promises for air defense systems in the past, and it's always the same old story, no big surprises. Everyone might think Western equipment is invincible, but that's not true. On August 26th, Ukraine's first F-16 mysteriously crashed. The Russians hadn't even taken a shot, it just went down on its own. Was it the pilot's fault, or was something wrong with the plane? Nobody knows. It's a reminder that no matter how great the equipment is, it's not always reliable. Take the HIMARS, for example. In early 2023, it was the bane of the Russian military, crippling their logistics. But soon enough, the Russians figured out how to jam its GPS, and Ukraine's precision missiles suddenly lost their aim. Plus, every missile costs a fortune, hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, and some just went down the drain. Western gear, awesome but expensive, and sometimes it's not as tough as it seems. Take Germany's Peacekeeper 2000 howitzer. It fires a few rounds and then breaks down. Ukrainian soldiers complain it's too delicate. Poland's crab artillery is powerful but prone to blowing itself up. In the end, cheap can be effective. Ukraine's old Soviet tanks aren't as fancy as Western ones, but they're simple, reliable, and easy for experienced soldiers to operate. Just fuel them up, and off they go, no bells and whistles needed. Finally, let's talk about the US. In Germany, they recently held the Sabre Junction exercise, which was basically a rehearsal of the Ukraine war. 4,300 USS, and NATO soldiers simulated tank battles, drone warfare, psychological warfare, and battlefield medical rescues just like the real thing. The U.S. 173rd Airborne Brigade even parachuted from C-130 and C-17 planes, trekking 2 miles before gearing up for battle. The message is crystal clear: the USA and NATO are ready to jump in. Why? Because Russia is running out of conventional weapons, and all they have left is waving around the nuclear card. And to keep the fight going, Russia's been importing more weapons from Iran, and maybe even getting some help from China behind the scenes. At this rate, Russia might soon be knocking on China's door for more firepower. NATO may soon have no choice but to step in.